Hi, my name is Tammy Gomez, and I am the host and curator of the ongoing series. We show up here in the Zoom space every third Saturday of the month. And originally the series was titled Dando meaning giving. And every month there was a different theme. And I feel like we cycled through that pretty well for a year. And then last November, we adjusted the title of the series to Recordando, remembering. And this month's theme, July 2022, is remembering la video, remembering the video. And what kind of video? Is it a Kim Kardashian recuerdo, or is it a family, a home movie video, or is it just some mental landscape you have in mind that seems like a video when you recall a memory with such density and intricate detail that you feel like it is like a video, and didn't somebody shoot that video because it seems, so real to you. I just felt like that would be a good theme for the month, and you can go with it in whatever way it seems meaningful to you, and it doesn't have to make sense or sound reasonable to anybody else but you, which is fine. It's just a way to kind of put some energy into the reading so that we're maybe even creating new work for the month. But personally, I did happen to watch some excerpts from the video that was released this past week or late last week, from the surveillance hallway video there at the Uvalde Elementary School, and that had impact on me. And I'm still kind of decompressing, and I mean, I'm going through lots of things right now, as many of us probably are. We're multitasking on so many levels because of the world we're in today. But yeah, that's one experience I'm still kind of having to process and decompress about, and express to myself some way to manage how I feel about it. So Jesse, that possibly answers your question. Okay.
Completely.
And then some.
And my other question is, though, when do you say, I didn't know anything about the theme for the month, and when do you come out with that theme? At the end of this program, or whenever?
Whenever. It's usually 1 to 3 weeks before the reading happens. So it might be at the beginning of the month, or it might be a week or a few days before the event. But to be fair, it's mostly been to offer enough ample opportunity for folks to write new pieces. It's usually been announced at the top of towards the top of the month. But no one's obligated to speak, precisely to that or cover the theme. And you can just be a listener on some months if one chooses. Yeah, there's really, these are more like guidelines and some soft tendencies rather than any, this is not a for credit course or anything like that. It never has been. Though I do have some favorites, I think now and again about maybe curating one of these monthly events so that I would get to hear some of my favorite poems from the previous 12 months or so, get those shared again. Hey, Lane, how are you? Welcome.
Hello. So good to see you and see you all.
Hello.
So we'll start, I guess, with a poem. I think I'll share a piece just to warm up the space a little bit with some reading, and then invite you to start thinking about what it is you might want to read if you want to go next or after next. And there will be a break, and that might give you some time to write something new if you want to do that. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, if you want to read just 1 or 2 pieces ahorita, like at the beginning, and then come back later with something else that occurs to you, oh, I really have a response piece to something I heard earlier, then, that's fine too. And we just dialogue it out loud, like, hey, Tammy, I have one more I'd like to share. That might be the guy calling to ask how I like the pot roast. So I can call him back later. I received a really special porch delivery lane. I'm dealing with COVID, so people are helping me out with some nice porch drop stuff. So.
I'm glad to hear that, Tammy. I'm glad to hear that. That reminds me of the good old days. And, I remember dropping off things on your porch before and coming over. I miss you. How are you feeling?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good this minute and this hour. Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
Just took a decongestant, and I have some gummy vitamins right around the corner here and lots of water. So I feel good. And I've been looking forward to this all day. So the piece that I'll start off with is from a a manuscript that I've been working on. And this piece is called Calculus of Pandemic. And it's a mood piece. So I don't know that I feel this mood today, but it's a mood piece. Calculus of Pandemic. We have become overnight amazing mathematicians, calculating plus quantifying plus calculating risk. We got so good at pandemic plotting before going grocery shopping. Get out of car, don mask, get through the door without touching it, forego the cart, and just bite what you can clutch to your throbbing chest and panic buy what might still be in stock, but not so much that you might drop things on the floor because you're leaving them there. Ain't no way you're picking up anything off that floor where everybody's walking and dropping their COVID germs all up and down the aisles, even though the temp workers with squirt bottles of sanitizer or bleach are on their 80th disposable towel during today's stand the whole time shift, keeping counters and shelves free of cooties that could kill a whole country. That kind of calculus, that madwoman math. Like I was on the patio at the bar, but 3 friends came out to greet me and 2 of them wore masks. One seemed to be sniffling from behind her mask and didn't keep her distance, while the unmasked pal stayed back from me and only coughed once after a cigarette. So who is most likely to be a virus spreader in this scenario? And when should I get tested? If I woke up yesterday with a sore throat, but today only have a slight feeling of nausea. And the weatherman just said that pollen is high. So is all of this about allergies? This mental work furrows the brow and makes my hair slip easily out of follicles more than ever before. Applied calculus multiplies my calluses and gives gravity the greater advantage. Oh, wouldn't you like to be doing applied calculus in pandemic earthquake Haiti or pandemic Taliban Afghanistan right about now? Nope. God help those poor people. God help any of us. It's a mood piece, yes. Ken Sige, who wants to go next? Oh, sure, Jesse, go for it.
Everybody's being shy, so I'll break the ice here. I don't have a poem about a video, although I should say one of the states wants to outlaw filming police. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? Okay, but this has photographs in it. It's as close as I can come to videos. It's called No Regrets. I came across some old pictures of myself. One is a child of maybe 2 or 3, and I remember that child. A child whose world was a family, a house, a teddy bear, and a dog named Derry. And that child still lives in me. And for that child, nothing has ever changed, and nothing ever will. And then there's a picture of myself as a young teenager. And I remember that boy, a boy taken from the country into a world of concrete, skyscrapers, and apartments where pets were not allowed. A boy who in this photograph had a smile, but I know the pain that smile hid. And there's another photograph taken when I was 19 or 20, a boy unsure of himself, struggling through days that bled slowly one into another. A boy killing the pain with drugs, and I was that boy. And though I am no longer that boy, I will always be that boy. A boy trying to make sense out of the eternal war between the way the world is and the way it should be, which is the same struggle I still go through today as I look in the mirror and see a patchwork man, a man built out of parts of the present and parts of the past. I'm like a troupe of acrobats building a human ladder, a ladder made up out of all the people I have ever been, each one standing on the shoulders of the one I was before. And now here I am at the very top, balanced on one leg, arms outstretched, swaying, precarious, looking down at the audience and waiting for the applause. Thank you.
Yes, I love that honesty. Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you, Jesse.
I will go next. I don't have a piece that has to do with the video, although, you know, just thinking about that, I think that when we write, pardon me a minute, sorry. I think that writing, let me do this a different way. Okay, there we are. I think that when we write about our life, it is in a way rewinding a film, a video. Sometimes you go from the present to the way back, and other times you start way back and come forward. So this is an event that happened not too long ago to me, and here it is. It's more like a prose piece. It's called In My Shoes. One thing people who know me well know is I hate waiting in line, get fidgety, suspicious, and mean. Know for sure everyone is or will be getting served ahead of me. Even people who love me cringe, but they stay, talk me down. It's a phobia I know came from waiting with mom at the welfare, or if you prefer a gentler term, public assistance office in the Bronx. In my beginner's English, I played interpreter. We'd watch workers behind the half wall separating them from us supplicants mill around, talk, laugh, while on the other side of the border, we'd sit for hours, hungry, tired, ashamed to be there. And here I was in line at my neighborhood market the other day, the line I thought would be fastest, when I spied a shopping cart bursting with bulk quantities of flour, fruit, oil, even a plush bear in front of me. And when all items were scanned and credit card tendered, the payment failed. And a man tried another and another and another card, looking more and more flustered with the same result. We were at an impasse. I could feel my anxiety coming as a train clacking down the tracks. I looked up at the tableau, wary-eyed woman, pink hijab hiding hair, curly-haired boy about 12, girl maybe 6, clutching woman's abaya, man wearing shirt with Presbyterian embroidered on it, large metal cross around his neck, prosthetic left arm ending in a hook, and the card-carrying man. Only then did it hit me. These were Afghan refugees and their host, and their local host. They looked at me with distrust, curiosity, chagrin. I looked back with what I hoped they'd see as friendly eyes above my mask, then told cashier I would pay. The crossed man asked, "Are you sure?" I was, and tendered my card. Now they looked quizzically at me, then relaxed. Though not the man I took to be the patriarch, who looked slant at me, perhaps ashamed to be in this predicament, a woman paying for his family's needs. The boy stepped closer, said haltingly, "Thank you." I said to them, "You are welcome." Then I said, "Welcome." As I got in my car, I saw the huddle of women and children, watched the men struggle to load goods onto the bed of the truck. I thought about the long, hard road ahead for these newcomers to this alien place, alien language, alien culture, alien everything. And I wept for them and for my mother and 13-year-old me sitting still at the welfare office in that alien place, alien language, alien culture, alien everything, where we had landed so far, far from home. Thank you.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sylvia, one of the poets that likes to join us, I can't be with us tonight because she and her husband are hosting a Afghani mother and her children here in Fort Worth in North Texas because they had to come up from Houston to file some paperwork for, I guess, their asylum claim. So I mean, everybody's got a situation, right? We're just like 1 or 2 degrees away from being impacted and being touched by those families from different places.
Right. Or even
when did that happen? Do you remember when that happened with the at the?
No, that was about 4 months ago. You know, maybe February, March of this year. And actually, after the war in Ukraine had started, and people were talking about all the refugees and asylum seekers coming, and you know, I started to think about how many people are coming here from every country, trying to find a place to find peace and a decent life in. And all of a sudden, there I am at the market, and who's there but an Afghan family? And it impacted me greatly because it put me back. You know, it rolled back my video to when I was 12, 13 years old and being in a circumstance, although from Puerto Rico, of course, we're citizens, so technically we're not immigrants, although our experience coming from a tropical island with a different language and different culture and different customs is much like that of a person coming here from anywhere else in the world. We're technically not immigrants, but still we have that same kind of experience. And so it just, you know, rolled back my video to when I was that age. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Thanks so much. That was nice. So very nice.
I was thinking, by the way, I just heard the theme video yesterday, and I thought, and I couldn't think of any pieces I have about video, but the word is Latin for I see. And almost everything I write about is sort of about seeing. Anyway, I did choose a piece, but I want to check something first. Tammy, you and I were talking about doing singing, and I chose a piece that had singing. And I also chose it for 2 other reasons. One is because it's sort of like it's sort of a women's power poem, I think. And it's and often I'm at the Recordandos on a few occasions I've been the only male identified person. It's often, now it's about half and half today, but it's often been like mostly women, and so I thought of that. But it is a little it's like maybe 5 minutes or something. Is that too long for you guys? Might be a little more than that. Would that be, I don't want to oppress. Okay, well,
No, yes,
it's
take all
also
your
really
time.
good for people who have been living in very hot temperatures, which I think is most people on here, except maybe me, because I'm in Oakland, California, where it's been, I don't want to tell you what it's been. Anyway, okay, so this is, I don't want to do a lot of explanation. I have a book called Poems for Teeth. I know that seems odd, and there's a poem for every tooth in the mouth, but they're really poems about human experience. This is for tooth number 23, the lower left second incisor. I think it's over here. Okay, it doesn't matter so much, but it's called Tooth of Discernment. And in the poem, 23 is also a person, and that's all. Tooth of Discernment. 23 wanders through the woods after an ice storm, seeing every branch, every sprig coated in gleaming glass. It is early spring, and there are buds enshrined. Each new twig has its aim, each branch its weight, each trunk its stock. Even the new grass pushing through the crust respires. Each blade illumined, reified, awesome, lush. Her boots crunch loudly, and she stops to hear the hush, broken by a drip here and a crack there, the smacking of boughs in the breeze, the tinkling crash of tiny ice falls, the stir of small life, and the scent of freeze. No detail escapes. A mottled bark, encrusted moss, a young fern splayed, each magnified by light and fog, slowly rising into the brightening sky. 23 listens to the lifting mist and lets a soft sound, louder than breath, but quieter than a palpable sigh. Let her sing branches anew, anew. Let her tumble into the ever-grown hay. Find her a creature that she may show and sing children's terrors away. Traveler, farer, journeyer, thine eye rends sameness and touches the exclusive track of being. You caress objects like they've never been, make them be, and let them drift into the next countenance. Create the simple stillness for us and retract our ever-sated eye. Let us see again, so we may be as the wind which culminates the day. Let her blow through the imagined land, give her a steady bearing and a vantage to claim. Let her sing quietly by the shore and give the horizon a name. The wilderness rises to greet her. Bricks and stones rise, old milk jugs, automobiles rise, faces of salesmen, architects, hypocrites rise. The new sun rises, cantilevers, furnaces, pixels rise, all types of cheekbones, irises, derma rise, weddings rise, parades rise, bombs and daggers rise, leaves and tomes and old shells rise, the veins of the leaves rise, lines of the tomes rise, faintly tinted ridges of the shells rise. She sees them all rise and mingle, palpitate, remix, shift and struggle, yes, vie, prevaricate, dominate, repress, endure great pain, spit and deceive, prosper, soar, countless parts and things, incantatory, real, displayed each with its valued features, all on an even plane. And let her be a siren, and let her be a star, and let her pour into the world, and let her be clear as the eye of the storm, and let her see things as they are. 23 walks through the town she has lived many years and sees the strange turns of brick, of cornice, mysterious inscriptions on the founding stones, layers of road, repainted signs, transportation of goods, services enacted, doors opened, greetings made, true and untrue, and faces seen and never seen, a different one sad now, a new one revered, a momentary shock on that, an infant in the air, a lined one with another cause, an apoplectic girl, a battered gin, a spurned chanteuse, a comet, and a tail, each with specific eyes, a turn of lip, curve of ear, hair unlike else, and brow defined as if seen under ice for a moment, waiting to churn, to splice, to blend and propagate, all buds, the new road, the year. Let her bring trinkets afar, let her bring trinkets afar, afar. Let her congregate with the finest of clans. Let her touch every kind of hair and marvel in every strand. And with thine eye you register, measure, take a step, open palms, lift the veils, recognize, embrace the weak and strong in each, flaws and talents one, and know fear from a hole in the ground, fashion from despair, color from deception, fantasy from grace, peace from war. And let her be a siren, and let her be a star, and let her pour into the world, and let her be clear as the eye of the storm, and let her see things as they are. When 23 straps on her pack, purely stocked with air and eye only, no need for camera or knife, when she canters, takes her leave, you may pang, may want, but you should not. For though she will voyage in one sense, and sense it is, her journey is optic. She is rooted in light. She can visit without ever moving. And in the split of a grin, she sees you. I hope that wasn't too long.
Oh, I love 23. Oh.
Just for something pretty, and I thought pretty might be good at this point in time to share. So thank you for your patience.
I like the split of a grin. I thought that was terrific, you know. In the split of a grin, she sees you.
Yeah,
Sees you. Yes, terrific.
you've got kind of a split of a grin there. I'm not flirting, I promise.
I don't know if this is too meta for even me, but for some reason, Richard, I envisioned 23 like with cute little holiday earmuffs. They're all fluffy white on a white sled, moving alongside a Cormac McCarthy novel.
But somehow inside a Walt Whitman poem or something.
Yeah, but like, hey, look, I'm having fun. Don't you want to jump in with me? Cormac McCarthy novel.
He's like,
all the dark and gloom, and trudging through mud on the same terrain, but a whole different mindset and makeup and roll of light. That's where it went for me for some reason. Yeah, lovely. Thank you for singing. What was going on with you, Lane? Was there some kind of hiccup behind you?
Yeah, I was losing power in the outlet. I'm house sitting, and so I'm not totally familiar with everything, and I was about to lose power. So
well, it's kind of blurry. Does it look that way in real life?
That's my Zoom background, I use Zoom.
I'm teasing.
Blur. Okay, got you. Yeah, it is sometimes blurry, especially when I don't have my glasses on. So, and I'm in the Catskills in upstate New York, so it's nice and cool here too. So I will say it's a beautiful evening, beautiful day, actually, and the house sitting has been wonderful. So, yeah, and this tops the day off.
Would you like to share in a minute, Lane, or do you want to wait a little bit?
I don't have to wait. I mean, it seems like there was a theme about video maybe, or ancestors that I missed that, right?
Yeah, it may not have been shared with you, but yeah, I mean, you can go with it, riff on it, or walk away from it. That's cool. I know you'll have something that's really special for us anyhow.
Well, I haven't really read in a while, but it was sort of interesting that because I was revisiting a poem I had written. It's not very long, but there is, and I've been really the whole ancestral recognition and oh my goodness, your poem, your story about the child that you were. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. The child that you were, and building on that and recognizing that is becoming so apparent, and it's coming out. You know, I have to face it. I have to look at. I want to face it, and I want to see it. I want to visit it. I want to explore some of my family, and of course, being home now, I'm feeling that even more. But my poem is not about that. It's about, although it does mention something about ancestors in it, and it was based on a video, and it's not very long, but I will read it. So, because I made some edits to it. So right now, this is called Goody Tales. Searching for home through tongue-parted lips, regal beauty roams in thigh-high silk and rebounding brown skin. Dismissed by signatures, declaring her an orifice of pleasure, she clings to the cover girl page that claims she is a definitive denim-bleached, jean-short success. But still she grasps amongst vampires to reclaim her esteem. Drops beauty, red, rage through her veins, crying grandmother's tears and daughters to be fears. Drops eventually flood a knife's edge, ready to dissect her nature's inconvenience. And the blood smears, and the inseparable separates. Soul and skin split, lights flicker, and shadows open her eyes, unleashing labels of oppression. Rage finds a home, and she finds the freedom that only death can bring. There you have it.
I love that cries grandmother's tears. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Well,
was
it
one
made
of
me
my
think of
newer
Brit-
additions.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What could you
No,
say?
I just said that was one of the things I just changed tonight. So sometimes it's fun to go back and look at it again.
It made me think of Britney Spears and
Mhm.
freedom and severance and separation from family, that, you know, for self-preservation. That's
You know,
what came up. That's what
denim bleach success. Yeah, you know,
Mhm,
short
mhm.
success. Yeah. Well,
You had some really interesting facial expressions going on when you read, which I'm a big proponent of people, because I do performance, as you know, Lane, and some others might know. Sometimes the face has to contort in order for the sound to emit the way you want to hear the sound emit for a particular tone or impact. And so I was really intrigued by what your face was doing.
Well, good. I see that, and I heard a recording of myself doing this poem earlier, and I was not pleased with it, you know. And I guess that's why it's good to record yourself. And it because when I heard it, I said, well, this is a poem that has rage. I have to, you know, I want to hear the rage, and maybe that's part of it. Your face has to feel it. It's not pretty. So so that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to long ago just let go, and I was when you're on the inside looking out and not at a mirror, it's easy to practice this. It's just not really be so worried about not looking like a chanteuse, you know Hollywood starlet doing performance, just and see, even my accent, like I put on some kind of fake accent when I did that, because that's not me, it's not me at all. And so to be unpretty is kind of liberating, actually.
It's gotta be real. And
Gotta be real.
I know.
Real, 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 real.
That's right. And it's not always pretty, is it? Right? No.
I think of film reel since we're doing video.
There we go. Got the puns.
Mhm.
Who wants to go next? Or do you want to read another one now, Lane, or you want to circle back
No.
later?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll go. I do want to say I love that Jesse and Sylvia both had a teddy bear too. I loved them both, and that was cool that they were connected that way. I tried to get something together for the video theme, and it was hard. It was like a lot came up. So it was just, and then the last time I was here, I think Tammy, you suggested a movie, Memoria, I think it was called. And where I found it was at a museum in Queens called the Museum of the Moving Image. So when I was working on this, I was like remembering all these things that I saw there. And but that didn't make it on the poem. I kind of went with recuerdos also. Camera obscures, cara de papi, VHS in a shoulder strapped case. What child is on record versus the verses that I do sing? The curtains in the video store, the long night of the adult, movie boxes allure, camp of my niñez, club living room, discotheque TV. My grandmothers are on film, nietos blowing out candles, performances and house lights on house floors. I remember the dust in the sunlight, the soccer ball breaking glass. That's as far as I got.
Oh, I wanted
Yeah,
to hear
just
more. Did you kick the soccer ball? Was that you?
I can't remember which. I don't think I was the one. I don't really remember though. I was really young.
I just want to say, if anyone has not been to the Museum of Moving Image, you've got to go. It
I
is
love it.
such a great place. Yeah.
It's terrific. And you can, I don't know if you went upstairs where you can do something in front of a screen and a camera. Then
I
when you
did.
get down to the gift shop, they have all of the pictures they took of you in a little book. And as you flip through the book, he and I were dancing. We have the little book right behind us, actually. It's really a wonderful museum.
It is.
Yeah. They have video of like, I guess sort of like it was like they were studying like the motion, the movement of animals and stuff like that when it was, I guess film was first
Yes.
being created. And I was quite taken with that. They had a whole bunch of neat stuff.
Yeah.
All the Muppets and the Fraggles.
Always, they're always great.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first moving image was like running horse or something, a horse running?
That's right.
Yeah,
And
the
then
first
they
one.
had the men, the
Yeah,
men
I'm
running.
trying to think of the person's name who did
Naked.
that, but I can't. Huh?
The
Naked.
men running naked.
I like that movie Boxes Allure because I could remember that whole, there was just that moment in time there, right? That was just the thing, man.
Yeah, I remember like being young and like seeing Paris is Burning or Jeffrey, like the gay titles and like kind of putting a pin in that. Like, when I'm old enough, I'm gonna get to watch these.
Well, the curiosity, right? Of what
Yeah.
could be. Yeah, what could be.
So I'm going to recommend a book. very strongly. If anyone has never seen this, it's called The Invention of Hugo Cabret, by Brian Selznick, who, by the way, is related to the original Selznick, whose name I forget. It was made into a movie that's nowhere near as good as the book, called Hugo.
Oh, yeah.
But the book is amazing, and it really is, because half of it looks like a children's book, and I think kids like it, but half of it's regular, but then half the story is told with illustrations. I mean, they're not illustrating the words. It's just you get like, all of a sudden you get like 30 pages where you just follow the images, which are also done by the author. And but that's not why I'm recommending it. It's amazing, and it's about a lot of things, but it's about the beginning of the film industry, among other things. There's like some beautiful stuff in here. It's it's like a big children's book with a cool face on the side.
Yeah,
I happen
I
to
love
like
the movie.
Hugo. I like
me too.
films with children as heroes.
Mhm.
And yeah, the kid who played
Oh yeah, it's an
Hugo
okay
is-
movie, but the book is so much, there's more.
yeah, I am sure it's more pages than I've ever read at one time.
Well,
Um,
a lot of them are pictures.
and when did the book get published? Is that
I'm
pretty
sure it
old?
says right here. 2007.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
And it's Muybridge who directed that horse video.
It is my bridge. Yep. Anyway, yeah.
I had
But
to
this
look it
also
up.
it's such a unique book with like so many beautiful illustrations all the way through it that tell the story. Anyway, that's all.
I did actually write one more stanza I'll read because it's kind of on topic. I was embarrassed to read it, but
No, please.
what I'd written ends in 200 years of moving images, the phantascopes are gifts, ransom sex tapes, static noise NFTs, live streams and video chats still can't feel the weather.
That's great, actually. Yeah. You got some pot stir in the pot there, which meaning interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, an NFT I cannot eat or wear or sniff or smell.
Mhm.
Oh. Yeah, I
And-
was watching, like, I really like Richard's your talk of the wind and stuff, because I was sitting in the park today trying to work on this and or like think about it, and the wind kind of like that last thing was just watching the wind and sort of feeling my breath and feeling tied to that, and like realizing like this doesn't make it on any video.
That's really interesting observation. And you had it in the park today, surrounded by others also living their own questions and interrogations. Very cool. Who would like to go next? Jeffrey, do you have something pulled up there for us to hear?
It's too much a work in progress, I think, right now. So I'm going to hold back. And maybe I'll do some work on it when we have a break or something.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's never too late to try here in this space. How about you, Maureen? Welcome to the space this month. So glad you joined us.
Thank you. I actually I'm sick. I'm having trouble breathing. I think I have a beginning pneumonia. But I brought my ears because poetry is so good for the soul. And I thank you for all your gifts. So I'm just going to listen.
Well, let's give Maureen more to hear then, shall we? Thank you for being here, and a little kind of intentional moment for Maureen's lungs, you know?
Oh, very.
Hope you
Yes,
feel better.
very much.
I'll do another.
I can hear you.
I'm sorry, I'll do another if that's okay.
Great, Jesse. Thank you. Thanks all.
Okay. And this is a true incident, so it should have been video. It's called In the Time of the Great Pandemic. Like Bedouins lost in a sandstorm, we brave contamination to stand, faces covered, vaguely recognizable, outside a friend's house, where, behind a picture window, a family capers and jests like monkeys in a zoo, while we, both audience and play, wave and yell, doing our own pantomime for their amusement. All of us now sharing the same realization that though we may be caged separately, we're all still part of the same circus we call the human race. Thank you.
I'll scratch my armpits for that. Thank you.
I thought of something very unusual to do, but I don't want to interrupt her. Sylvia, were you about to read something? It seemed like you were.
Well,
wanna-
I took something out.
Yeah, please. I didn't mean to
Okay.
interrupt. Yeah, I
No,
just suddenly
no,
thought
no,
I was.
fine.
Yeah.
So this is called Houses. Tramping the banks of the Rio Grande, I have seen houses lining the bluffs, looking down on the once high and mighty river, architectural wonders, tempered glass facades rising regally to grab heaven, while underneath the sliver of gravel and sand that anchors them to earth spirits away, grain by grain. But this poem is not about those houses, but the ones inside the forest, the ones built by hands with too much time on their hands, time they never asked for, time that stretches tight from the wake-up rustle of birds leaving and porcupines returning to trees, to the late morning visit to check emails at the library, see if someone has thrown them a lifeline, to the miles trudged, hoping for a hand up, to the deep hush that shrouds the bosque and all its creatures as twilight slides into night once more. These are the houses I have seen sprouting under the canopy, squatting a safe distance from each other, sometimes hugging grizzled alamo trunks as if to borrow their strength, fashioned from fallen limbs, straight, curved, angled, gnarled, dragged and stacked to shelter unsheltered folk who have traveled straight, curved, angled, gnarled paths, and now their dog-tired bones dragged and stacked by who knows what circumstances wind up at day's end asleep in these woods where time creeps on silent knees and no one knows if this is the end of the line. Thank you.
You know how to end a poem.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
But what about the rest?
Oh, yeah, that's not bad too.
No.
No, but I would appreciate a great last moment of a poem. Which, you know, especially one of them enjoying, but you know, it's like it just feels so perfect sometimes, you know.
I just had to tell you, Sylvia, that your poem immediately reminded me of of a website that I investigated late last night, and I want to share my screen really quick, and so you can see what I was seeing. And it's an artist from, I think he's from Matamoros area, South Texas, and he works with cardboard exclusively, carton, and I just love these fashions that he's designed, and you'll notice the houses.
Whoa. Oh, that's great. I love this man.
That's terrific. Yes.
This looks
Yes.
like a hillside in Guanajuato, you know,
Mhm.
or
Yes.
let's say in Rio de
Woodley.
Janeiro, where they just build the favela in the favelas. You know, you have a piece of tin and some cardboard, and then you have a
Mhm.
home. Oh, look at this jacket.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
But
the-
look at the cemetery.
Yeah,
Are those
Yes.
cemetery or are those electrical line posts?
looks like a cemetery on the back.
That's a good
Yeah.
question. That's a good question. And then the shoes también.
Sneakers. Huh.
Yeah, really fascinating work. And he deliberately stays with this material. And Juan Carlos Escobedo is his name.
Can you put the link in the chat, please?
I just love his work. There's a lot more on the website, but Sylvia, I just felt like maybe you could reach out to him and say, hey, if you ever need a house poem, I got one for you.
Mhm.
That's so interesting that you came up with that, because I thought what you were going to talk about is about another artist who has put together the cardboard signs that unsheltered people have, you know, at stops along the road, hungry, you know, anything will help, God bless you,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And that artist has put all of those together into an exhibit.
I
And of
saw it.
course, yeah.
I've
Oh,
seen-
did you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's more than one artist that does the same thing, but I saw an exhibit of those like discarded sign. No, actually, they were purchased by this artist from every person who had made their own sign for
Yes.
the exhibit. So it's probably maybe the same exhibit.
I think so.
Really,
Yes,
really moving piece.
That's
yes,
amazing.
yes.
Where is
Uh,
that? I just saw that online.
I visited an art show here in Fort Worth about 5 years ago, where that was in one of the galleries. So it was a traveling show.
I just heard about it. I have not seen it live, so I don't know. But you know, this is those houses are so interesting because these are just you know, houses in the woods with all of the fallen limbs that people are making to try to at least make it through the night or the week or the rain or the cold. And we see them frequently when we go on our walks along the bosque. And, you know, it just, you were talking, I think at the beginning, about all of the things that assail us every day these days, you know, aside from the political part. And everything is politics, right? The political is the personal. Everything boils down to politics. But on every side, if it's not war, it's poverty, it's homelessness, it's crime, of course, is Black men being shot, you know, every single day. Uh, and I think Maureen is right that just sitting quietly in a space where poetry is being shared is a way to get some relief from all of that.
Yeah, I want to find about that exhibit too. I had a boyfriend a few years ago who was among other things, a squatter, and often wasn't working and would fly a sign. That's what they called it, and maybe that's where it's always called. I don't know, but they had some friends who would also fly a sign.
Oh.
And so, but that's all. It was just for a little while I was more in touch with the culture of that specific. Yeah. Anyway.
Huh.
I think my brother had seen that exhibit in Zurich because he told me about he had seen an American artist with exactly that. I want to read something really short with Tammy's earrings here in mind. is something I wrote last Christmas. If the Rockettes can sink those kicks, then maybe the universe can organize itself in some kind of order. Glad my faithlessness is so easily shook. Fear of my conviction turning to aggression, fear of self-love turning to self-obsession, fear of the allure of camp. Will I lose myself again this holiday? Is everything child about me driving this car?
Also a very nice last line.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Okay, do you mind saying it again?
Is everything child about me driving this car?
That's great.
Yes.
I
Thank
think
you, Ernest.
I might have found that exhibition. Anyway,
I remember seeing that, Tammy, at the, I think it was, well, I saw it in Fort Worth. Yeah, that, I think it might even have been gallery night. I saw it. I first thought it was gallery night over at
The sculptor who has a space
Sculpture.
on Highway 80.
yeah, over near my old house. Yeah.
Yeah, I
what's
can't remember her
name?
name right now.
Rebecca.
Yes,
something.
West or something. Rebecca, yes.
I think that's it.
the,
What is it? Sorry, what exhibit are you talking about?
well, I
The
just
one with
found
the
this
signs?
online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the carton,
and the exhibit was called Flying a Sign. That link will take you right to it. Maybe there's more than one, but this looks like what you're talking about.
Okay.
And it's by a woman named Sally Pettibon. And as it says right here. Yeah, I could show you if I share screen.
Yeah, I've got it up as well, Richard.
Yeah.
So I could
But-
but let me
So-
give it to you.
Mhm.
Let's see. Sorry. All right, you can go for it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyway, I assume there are a bunch more, and you can see one photo here.
Yes.
But yeah, that's what it says,
But
sadly.
some of them are hilarious and very engaging, charming, because they're trying to, hustle up some money, and
Right.
sometimes humor works better than pathos.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Too dumb to steal. It's actually. Oh,
I like the life coach, $1
Yes,
an hour.
yeah, I like that.
only $1.
Great.
So,
Broke,
had that
too
happen.
ugly to prostitute, too dumb to steal. Oh my gosh.
yeah. That's beautiful.
I think I read one that was something like, yeah, let's have chicken. Let's have dinner. You bring the chicken, I'll bring the pot.
I like
think
that shitty advice the doctor is in, only $1.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have something else I could screen share, but if it's okay with you guys.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I thought of it a few minutes ago. I actually have video poems. These are not recordings of poems. They're just 30-second videos. There's only a few of them, one for each of the elements. And they're just pretty. I don't think you'll understand what I mean until
Until we see them.
Yeah. Oh, new share. Okay. Let me see if it'll let me share again. Yeah.
I'm
Ernest,
reminded
I'm
of
sorry,
your
I
festival.
misquoted you. I'm sorry about that, Ernest.
No problem. I'm reminded of your video poem festival, Tammy,
Here we go.
that you hosted.
El palabrazos, yes.
There should be 5 of these at about 30 seconds each.
They have no audio.
Oh. That's weird. It does have audio. You guys can't hear it, huh?
Yeah, sometimes there's a mess with that in terms of it'll cut out something if you add the audio. I'm not sure how to fix that. Sorry.
That's okay. Let me try it one more time. No audio?
No, I think it's a Zoom setting or something. when
Okay,
you-
that's okay. I'm not gonna do it then. It was a nice thought. There's like water, there's a fallen tree, there's people jumping over a campfire, there's breeze turning pages of a journal, and the last one, of course, is music. It's like 40 seconds of people playing harmonica. So
Oh, but you're not reading a poem over it?
no, not at all. It's just,
Okay.
can you hear the water falling?
Mm-mm.
No,
I can imagine it.
no, that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm gonna stop. Anyway, it was worth it. It was worth it. Now I know not to do that again.
Here's the corrected line by Ernest. Sorry, I misquoted you. Is everything child about me driving this car? Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Well, at this place in juncture in our reading, I think I'll stop the recording temporarily so we can take a little break. So I'll take a pause in the recording, and let's see who would like to read something next. Just volunteer yourself.
I think I better because I'm getting kind of tired here in my time zone. And I mentioned I was house sitting and I'm dog sitting, and this dog wakes up at 5:30 in the morning every morning.
Where are
And
you
so-
in the Catskills? What?
I'm in Chatham. I'm north of Hudson. So
I'm
I
just
live
curious.
I live in Saratoga Springs. It's about an hour
Huh?
from here. So
I was thinking of moving to the Hudson Valley.
oh,
Anyway.
it's so beautiful. Really?
I've spent a lot of time up there.
Oh, you? Oh, nice.
I like going up to Cold Spring for hiking.
Mhm.
I've never been there.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in Woodstock. I had like 15 years ago, I was living in Brooklyn. I had a friend who had a house in Woodstock that had a guest up, like a little guest apartment, and she loved for me to come up. So every time I was teaching college, and every time I had like a few weeks break, I would go up there and cook for her because she was like an ER doctor, but never cooked. And so
No.
I was like her favorite guest. I wrote a book up there.
Oh, how perfect. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And she's still there? She still lives there?
She's she moved. She was in Kingston for a bunch of years, and she moved last summer, and somehow she never told me what town she was moving to. But she's up there. And my friend Jane is in Hudson. She's got COVID right now too.
Oh,
I don't know. I have a lot of friends up there. Friends in Troy.
Troy, I'm very close to Troy, actually. I was just talking to a new friend of mine that we have relatives both from Troy, and probably go exploring it because I left this area when I was 18, and like I was saying, now I have an opportunity to go back and
Mhm.
and explore some of this.
Hmm.
So this piece is a little longer. It's something different. I haven't written anything like this in a while. I guess it's prose, a little story like, and I haven't read it, and I'm not sure it has a great ending, but it's a work in progress. And here we go. I'll see if I can read it. Okay. It's called Middle Seat. It had been a long while since I sat in the window seat. Why not? I thought, walking down the aisle of the 737. It was a short flight, and it looked so inviting. The morning sun peering through the half-lowered window shade. I could cocoon in, maybe even shut my eyes and catch my breath. There was no one in the middle seat. They had announced that it was not a full flight. Ironically, I was lucky that the flight was delayed and got in the plane at all. All this before 5 a.m. Maybe I am a morning person after all. I settled in, situating my bags. I did travel light this time. The small orange backpack I almost gave away is now the perfect traveling companion. It fits right under the seat in front of me, and my new laptop is easily accessible. I was starting to feel the comfort of the new day and thoughts of going home. I'm not really sure why he picked this particular middle seat, my middle seat, my row, my serenity. What made me so naive to believe that I was far enough back to avoid a middleman interloper? I can clearly see through the rows that there were middle seats closer to the exit, and the attendant clearly stated that there were vacant aisles and window seats further back. So why 17B right here, right now? Must be my ethereal draw. As I turned my head, as I turned my back, a fire flared, curved and spread up my throat. I was overcome by an uncontrollable swelling. The jacket I needed minutes ago became a straitjacket I fought to get out of, bobbing and weaving, crushed against the beige plastic airplane walls. I can barely breathe. The air vent offered only a thin stream of air. Why so stingy? Were they saving the air in case of a cabin emergency? Well, this was a fucking cabin emergency. Oh, hell. I could just move, or I could press the call button, but that would only call more attention to the hellacious mistake I made of foregoing the aisle seat. His aroma had entered my space, a little sweat and a little soap. I had to close my eyes, focus on the breath. All my training should be able to get me through this. This discomfort is due to my thoughts, my mind, and I can change that if I choose. And as my breathing deepened, I started to find space and soften. My mind comes from my mind. Your mind comes from your mind. So we all think our mind is the most important. So we all are the same, trying to claim mine. I created a villain out of my neighbor, hairy arms, too big to fit within the designated armrests. He was not a huge person, but in such a small space, how could he not feel my rising discomfort? And he really did nothing wrong. He seemed kind enough when he took the regulated airplane snack from the steward to give me. I was not paying attention, as I never eat those snacks. I waved it off and said no thank you before I realized that he now had to hold on to the snack. That was to be mine, as the steward had already moved on. The packaged snack sat there most of the flight, till it was time to put up the tray tables. I should just take the snack, even though they are filled with gluten, and I'll never eat them. But why? To ease his discomfort? Am I falling into some kind of gender role trying to please? Was he going to have to carry the snack around with him when he deplaned? Those snacks are not really mine, but they were not really his either. He turned and again offered me the snacks, and this time I took them and smiled, and now they were mine, to manage, to adapt, and to make it easy for the person in the middle seat.
Oh my gosh.
Lynn, that was great. And if we say it's a poem, it's a poem. That
I
was
don't know if it's poem or prose. Sometimes I don't know what to call it, a
Who
story.
cares? That was terrific. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just call it a prose poem.
Okay, thank you.
Call it, yeah.
What did you do with the snacks afterwards is what I'm wondering.
Oh, I crushed them up and threw them away.
Okay. Did you
No, I
open it up so ants could get in and enjoy them? That's what I do, is I
How
just leave it
long
for the
was the
ants.
flight? I was wondering.
It wasn't a long
I don't know if
flight.
I missed that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it was a short flight. That's why I took the window seat. It was the first flight out of Denver. Oh, but it was a hellacious getting even to Denver. So it was, I guess it was about an hour and a half. It was long enough. It was long enough.
No, I had a couple hour flight one time where it was only 2 seats on either side, but the largest man on the plane, who not only was large but had a giant like metal briefcase and crutches, sat in the seat next to me, and I was like, I felt like I was in a coffin, and it was very similar. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to scream.
It was like I was having a
He
panic
wouldn't
attack.
talk to me either. He was like, yeah,
Was that for very long, Richard? Was
yeah, it
that?
was a few hours. Yeah,
Oh,
he was like, I'm like 6'3" and 350 or bigger, just a huge man. Couldn't really fit in the seat, and he had a broken leg or something. So
I can imagine he'd probably spent a lot of time apologizing already that day.
maybe I didn't bother him. I just tried to breathe.
You tried to breathe. Oh my gosh.
Same thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Lane. That was miserable. Just kidding. No, but we've all been there. Like, obviously, Richard had a story to share. Yeah. We've all been there. But yeah, it is about the mind for sure.
The mind and this whole idea of what's mine, again, what's mine really. So yeah, it's funny how what goes on in such a short amount of time
Mhm.
and in this enclosed space. And I'm not one to panic attacks, but it was this very it was just one of those moments where I really observed what was going on and just had to write about it. So
Thank you. And I know you say you might need to leave soon, but yeah, I'm really happy to see you again. And it was a pleasure to hear you read and express your work.
it's so wonderful to see everyone and to see you, Tammy. Feels like it's been so long. I'm going to hang in there as long as I can. So I feel energized. Thank you so much for sharing. I haven't been writing a whole lot, but lately I've been writing a little more, and there's an open mic that I'm thinking I might go to. So this is very encouraging. So thank you.
So Jeffrey or Ernest, do you have pieces, anything to share?
No, Jeffrey? I was gonna, since we read a couple of COVID poems, I was gonna read the one that I wrote.
Sure.
All right. It probably needs a lot of editing. It's kind of rough, but here it goes. Love poem to universe. 2020 calendar year. Love poems to a God I hate. Death melts sweat from my cells like a heavy gas, crawls on the floor, I on the water's edge, and death submerges, pulled to the depth of the nightmare waters to gravity, the earth's core in flames, and molten planet furnace, maggots on a rat carcass, on a subway rail. It did dance while alive. Swarm of flies, insect fur, fly away. I sit then stand, empty subway car, still, empty platform, a cough. What do moths come from? Cocoons on rafter beams, in attic's dust. Produce daddy long legs or moth holes on soft gray wool. The knits of tender grandmother hands, blue veins and spots darker than the skin color. I sang at a scream for her. The sky became an x-ray. Negative in a flash, death commutes no one. Michael, Vanessa, Riri, so many. Paranoid dreams, reality, hardened into still images, solid pictures. Tableau desgraciada. Walking we through memories, begging our lives to awaken, to sleep. Insomnia keeps us miserably in nightmare. Daymare in the fury mare, fire mare, trampling and heralding Armageddon. Piles of bodies, mass graves, silence in the streets so grave, the rips of sirens from beyond, to beyond saw, cut, bleeding the empty streets, nothing but fire red, bright blinking ambulance, lights, and oxygen, always tubes of life and gases we take, heave, suck in, gasp for, in granted, not granted. Black Lives Matter, street murals, tired treads, talking to ghosts, crying to a vacillating disbelief in ghosts. Fish hooks line and waits on my heart, suffocating fever, bookless library, South African library, lottery 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Cab driver. Kevin said the world revolves around this very moment, you and me having coffee. If I find joy and meaning in the adoption of the survivors / living, I heard death rattle, pulling thorns from my heart. Don't give up song. People are sick, no way out. When the TV is turned off, it's over. Reflection, which frightens me. Wita was born in 1911, heaven and hell for all her 100 years. Did not make her a storyteller, nor did I ever ask for historical context of her life. Love is here, ink runs dry. My prayer, God, is why don't we ever make it? Seems that's not it. Nobody has got it together. The days the planet burns, the seas and skies merge in anger. The food pantries are on the brink. The planet humans are armed for war, marching in formation, brandishing their weapons. If we last long enough, will Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny be written in history as gods we believed in? I can't breathe on a fabric mask. Zapatas paliacate. Cries ground in the vogues of white supremacy. Perhaps we've been parasites on this planet, trying mercilessly to kill and devour our host, knowing little about rocks. Symbiosis given up, never was. Now the government plucks out the Social Security checks and Medicare of hundreds of thousands without breath, and send us one check of those years that will go unpaid, savings and death. Wills, the workers purged from the payrolls and those left clocking in doubled in only workload. The cogs churning, motor moving, crushed soul and strength. Masked mayhem. Leave out the children torn from family, refugee camps, the uterus torn from woman, the USA bombs falling on Yemen, the CIA-backed Afghan death squads, the billionaire child rape network, the question of what they've really meant all these years with the right to life. Let's leave on a happy note. Let's see what tomorrow brings, or maybe look at the people that work the soup kitchens, those banging on pots in appreciation, last night's conjunction, live stream jellyfish, balcony music, the care of one person for another, the trust to take on more, gratitudes upon gratitudes, music, art, and dance thriving despite being painted in some cubist tragic painting, TikTok dance parties, TikTok right-wing party cancellations. Let's hear the song of protest that walk the streets day in and day out. The resistance is here. There is community, and perhaps I enjoy Manhattan more than ever now. Streets may have been empty but to ambulances, but the protests swelled in solidarity with the Black community, in solidarity with the Black trans community, in solidarity with the queer community. Presente, presente, presente. Climate protesters are here. I'll have to look up, calling on those present at the memorializing of the dead, those that are present now only in spirit. Zoom funerals, FaceTime funerals, virtual happy hours with the primos. Love is here, love is here, love is here. Billionaires made billions while many people wept for less than what they had before. But we are here, love is here, we will thrive, we are awakening as a community event, and I dare hope history will not repeat itself. We walked once empty streets, rode bicycles through a Manhattan. We hiked the black rock of Central Park. We used our electrical devices to connect, like with ant antenna, messaging one to the other which way to go, and we will carry on to the end. I think I've read enough. Thank you.
I think you caught the whole thing.
That's a good breaking point, but yeah, I mean, you could have, there's more then, right?
Yeah, you mind? It was going long. I didn't want to keep going.
But yeah, you finished before 10, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes. Go ahead.
That was some great witnessing.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we will carry on to the end. God, I don't want to be your little asshole in the way of mirroring social diseases with malice. And the gift Gigi gives me still is to know in this moment I have myself, this body I inhabit, alone in no center of my own universe. Family a construct as an adult Jesus chose adoring fans over. Community is the unavoidable truth of our social nature, our interdependence on life and matter with the need of dust that makes us. the infinitesimal basic nature that composes everything. I have a need for acknowledging this exact sameness with the contrast to a particular uniqueness, alone and among, at once, love energy moving mountains. This poem is a guisada of everything in my fridge that makes sense this very meal. And let's remember, firework after firework after firework. A gentler use of gunpowder than the paramilitary officers wresting every control from every finger of color.
I'm glad I got to hear the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Modern Jack Kerouac, I tell you.
That was lovely.
Great.
Was that long line or short line stuff?
I don't even know what that means.
Was it prose
It was, I guess,
or was it written in prose form or poetry? Was it like paragraphs? Or?
like poetry, I guess, like little lines.
I couldn't decide if it went all the way across the page or if it was, yeah, it doesn't matter. I was just curious. I don't know why.
Boy, did you cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Thank you.
And that was good, really. That was great.
And it's very
Thank you.
moving because you covered so much ground, you touched so much, and the imagery just really, I don't know, touched my heart because you know we all have had our experiences in COVID, and it's just very relatable, and the pacing of it and the urgency of it just really was wonderful.
And the fact that, you know, during this pandemic, especially at the beginning and for a year, we all had extra time because we weren't able to go anywhere, do anything. We were afraid to. And so one begins to notice everything. You have time to really look around and see everything that's going on. And it seemed to me like that's what you were doing, just noticing all of these different happenings, events, feelings, emotions. So yeah, I think that that goes along with a pandemic kind of a time.
Mm-hmm.
So reading it now, just now, Ernest, did you feel like you were seeing that those experiences of those things again, like having the flicker, you know, of lots of film images come before your eyes again?
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, more comes up, you know, just digging a little at it, more comes up.
Mhm.
Do you feel like you stayed in that place though of where you went, or are you detaching from it, right? You know, since you've finished reading it?
Yeah, here also, like, I mean, also here the whole time aware of what we're doing here now. And it's so, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to bridge the two at this very moment.
And it's great as an audience to be carried along on this wave of words and images that we all are experiencing. You know, we all listen to the news and watch TV and bang, 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 you know, so you were nailing all these things that we could relate to. So anyway.
Yeah, my daughter and her husband were living in Manhattan down in Little Italy all during the worst part of it. And it's like her accounts of what was going on and were brought back from your words.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have even traveled that far, and I'm not, you know, but maybe a 30-minute ride there. I mean, in the beginning, it was like they were telling us just 30 minutes outside. That's how much time you could go outside. And I would just walk around the Harlem and then come back. And then I think we've, you know, some of us have been talking about going to the grocery store. It was like, I didn't want to ride the subway to the Trader Joe's. So I got like a wagon to walk to Whole Foods and had to start shopping there instead. And yeah. And I mean, there was one time, there's a funeral home on the way. It's up on 125th. I'm on 110. And I remember like a tall van where they were able to take 6 coffins at once, and they were stacking the bodies. And the other thing, I have a window to 110th Street, and I would see the mobile morgues that they were using for semi trucks. and I would see them pass by. So yeah, so some of that stuff comes up too.
Yeah.
Is that where you,
And all
live?
the Black Lives Matter stuff too. I mean, all the different, I mean, it was all happening at once.
Yeah, and it was kind of amazing because for Gay Pride, there was like one of the biggest queer liberation marches in support for the Black trans. I liked there were a lot of support for the community and
Was that in
Black queer
2020 though?
community.
They
This
didn't do it.
was the
They couldn't have
yeah,
been.
I think it was 2020. Yeah.
They had something in 2020.
Yeah, it wasn't official. It wasn't
Oh,
like, you know, it was the queer liberation is kind of the unofficial, like non-parade. It's a march. It's
No,
more of a
I know.
march.
I just figured
Yeah.
that year was the peak of the beginning of COVID. So I didn't know that if they'd even do
Yeah.
something unofficial then. I mean, nothing happened out here in Oakland except for a lot of really fierce protests and riots. You know, like I could
Yeah.
watch people in buildings getting, you know, set on fire from my windows and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think in Soho, they were smashing a lot of windows and stuff. And I did see like at some of the marches, I saw smashing cop cars and windows and stuff like that in some of the marches that I was in.
Yeah, there's some serious folks doing out here that do protests. Wow, that was good. You covered so much. I agree. And, you know, I think that's kind of tough. And you said, oh, it might need some editing, and that's up to you. But, you know, we're working pretty well as it is, you know.
Yeah.
As well. You know, it's only your eye that can see if you want to shift or build on or whatever. But it certainly came across well.
Thank you.
I hope Tammy's okay.
Me too.
Oh.
Yeah, me too. I hope so too. That's something really unexpected hit me. But yeah, that's how this thing goes. And thank you for how you read it as well, Ernest. I think some things can't be adorned, you know, they just have to be like a staccato delivery in the voice of how you're feeling it. So the thing I wanted to share, my video song, I don't know if I could do it, but I'll try. I couldn't find the written poem anywhere in the half an hour I gave myself to look for it. But I do remember the chorus. And the chorus is most important because it came to me as a complete piece. I guess entero might be the word. Is that right, Sylvia? Like it came like all in one, all together.
Una pieza entera.
Yes.
Una pieza entera.
Yes. So I was in Austin in the 90s and riding a bus, and it came to me. I guess I had watched some video. I don't know what the video was, and it was something I was fixating on in my mind as I rode the bus. And then the melody and the words came to me, and I rushed off the bus at the nearest stop and went to a phone booth, which we still used to have back then, and put my quarters in and called my voicemail, and I sang what I thought I heard. And then it became the basis of a song that was a complete piece that I performed with my band. And this is the part that I remember came to me entero, as a pieza entero, all at once. I think if I took a drink from all the sunshine, I think if I took a drink from all the sunshine and spit on the video and spit on the video and eject that video, I'd laugh. I'd laugh. So the video, 911 video, is a video that I had to try to eject. The second plane hitting the Twin Towers when we knew one had already hit and something was wrong. We didn't expect the second one. And how many of us have seen that video? The video is online. I'm sure you can find it on Vimeo and YouTube and so many other outlets. And then
I actually knew the people who filmed the second one, the first shot that everybody saw. Go ahead.
oh yes, thanks. And I'm glad, I mean, I'm curious now about you and that friend, but I'll continue, video of invasion of Iraq, the second invasion of Iraq, the US, by the US in 15 or 20 years, and and so many other videos, video footage of heinous abuse and brutality at Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay, of people who still haven't been charged with any crimes and still are detained. The video of people waiting for vaccines or waiting for groceries or getting in fights or shattering plate glass windows in Minnesota after the murder of George Floyd. All those videos that are up there in my head and your head, and how we have to sort through and catalog them and maybe revisit them, but they don't have to be the entirety of what we see, and we have to draw from other sources in order to move through our day and stay well and and nourish and cherish and take care of each other and our pets and the earth and all that's on the earth. So I'm just gonna ask y'all if you want to sing with me. I think if I took a drink from all the sunshine, and I'll repeat that if you, and join me if you like. I think if I took a drink from all the sunshine and spit on the video
And
and
spit
spit on the video and eject that video. And eject that video. I'd laugh.
I'd laugh.
I'd laugh. I'd be back to being me. I'd be me. I'd know it all. I can't unsee it, but I'd laugh and I'd continue to be me, carrying on.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming and doing this, although you are in the throes of the COVID. Hopefully, you will be out of that passage very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And as a retired physician, your voice comforts me.
Oh, good.
Please
Yeah.
rest, Tammy. Please rest. Take care of yourself. You're always
Stop
taking
talking.
Yeah, there you are. Oh, singing.
Boy.
No singing.
Yeah, I don't plan on being very loud at all for the next couple of days, at least. So any parting other pieces, anything that remains unread? Jeffrey, did you want to have a moment to take some space with us here?
No, maybe next time. I do have something in the works, but it's too raw.
I'm so glad you're here, though, always.
I'm glad to be here. And Maureen is a friend of mine, a new friend of mine, who is recently, she is from LA, and you may have noticed when she spoke, she has a British accent, but she always corrects people that she actually was born and raised on a sugarcane factory in the Caribbean in Guyana, and then spent some time in Australia. And she's a performing artist. She has a PhD from the Integral Studies Institute in California, and is a poet and writer and visual artist, and a very fascinating person that I'm starting to get to know. She lives here in up North Fort Worth. So I'm hoping that Tammy, you and I and she will get together sometime soon.
That sounds great. Yeah, it's exciting that she's joining our community virtually and then nearby in person. Well, we'll be together again soon, those of us who can join up next August, in the third Saturday of August. And I'm going to stop the recording now. Thanks for participating.